A very good evening and welcome to yet another edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jed Abdin. We start off with a look at your headlines.
Newsfirst headline.
In headlines, Manusha and Harin lose parliamentary seats. Next candidate on list will fill seats left by Harin and Manusha. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca vows to crush corruption. Efforts will be made to empower and safeguard the rights of women in Sri Lanka to ensure equality, says President. 10 killed, 35 hurt in Russian strike on supermarket in Ukraine's east. South Africa aims to launch professional women's league next year. And in your top story, Manusha and Harin Fernando, who lost their portfolios and parliamentary seats following a Supreme Court ruling this morning, resigned from their ministerial positions today. The Supreme Court determined that the decision by Samagijana Balawege to expel the two members from the party was legal and valid. Accordingly, the court dismissed the petitions challenging this decision. The petitions filed by Manusha and Harin Fernando contested the legality of Samagijana Balawege's action to revoke their party memberships. The hearing took place before three-judge bench comprising Justices Vijit Malalgoda, Achala Vengapuli and Arjuna Besekara, who delivered the final verdict. After considering the petitions, the bench announced the dismissal of the petitions, rejecting the petitioners' requests. The court found that the revocation of membership was in line with the party's constitution and deemed there was no need for judicial intervention in the party's internal decisions. Manusha Nanakara had been elected as an MP for the Galle district from Samagijana Balawege in the last general election, while Harin Fernando was elected from the party's national list. The suspension of their party memberships was on the 20th May 2023, following their support for the current government led by Ranil Wickremesinghe, who assumed office in 2022. The petitioners had been informed that the party's executive committee had planned to issue explanations and conduct a disciplinary inquiry. However, they did not attend the inquiry. Consequently, Samagijana Balawege's lawyers argued in their preliminary objections to the Supreme Court that the party's decision to terminate the memberships was valid. Counsel for the petitioners argued that the expulsion from Samagijana Balawege was unlawful, asserting that only the party's working committee had the authority to expel members according to the party's constitution. Sajit Premadasa, the leader of the Samagijana Balawege, and Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, the general secretary, were named as respondents in the case. And also in more local news, General Secretary of Samagijana Balawege, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, convened a media briefing today to discuss future actions regarding the positions vacated by Harin Fernando and Manusha Nanakara. The General Secretary of the SJB, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, says according to the Election Act, if a Member of Parliament resigns or a position becomes vacant, the next candidate on the list will be appointed. He added accordingly, former MP Bandulal Bandaragoda from the Galle district will be appointed to this position. The General Secretary of the SJB says they will decide who will fill this position in consultation with the Executive Committee and the Board of Management of the party. And also in more local news, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has highlighted that efforts will be made to empower and safeguard the rights of women in Sri Lanka to ensure equality. The President expressed these views at the National Women's Conference in Colombo today. In his address, the President expressed gratitude to the women who supported him in guiding the country through the crisis. The President recalled how he reached out to opposition leader Sajit Premadasa and leader of National People's Power Anura Dissanayake, asking them to join him in aiding the people of this country. He said that they declined and instead he received support from three remarkable women in Nirmala Sitharaman, Janet Yellen and Kristalina Georgieva. He added that the journey has been challenging and there is more work ahead. A series of conferences on various topics have recently been organized under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. As part of the series, the National Women's Summit was held in Colombo today under the theme Women Are Our Strength. Several members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna who have extended their support to the President attended the conference. And also in more local news, presidential candidate Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca has pledged to tackle corruption head-on, a key issue he believes has plagued Sri Lanka for too long. Speaking to the media, Fonseca, renowned for his leadership in the military's fight against the LTTE, highlighted his track record of fulfilling promises. The presidential candidate stressed that just as he fulfilled his promise of defeating the LTTE, he will crush corruption and ensure that equal laws are applied to every individual in the country. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca will contest the upcoming presidential election as an independent candidate. And up next is international news.
International news.
And in news overseas, a Russian missile strike hit a supermarket in the Ukrainian town in the front line of Donetsk region, killing at least 10 people and injuring 35 others, according to Ukrainian officials. The strike caused a fire that had been put out, the interior minister said, while heavy black smoke clouds rising from the destroyed building could be seen in the images and videos posted by officials. Regional Governor Vadim Filashkin initially said Russia used artillery, but later said the attack from an X-38 air-to-surface missile. Nova Pochta, Ukraine's largest private postal company, said its cargo office in the supermarket was damaged in the strike. And up next is your update on sports.
Sports news.
And in sports, South Africa Rugby announced plans on Friday to launch a women's professional league with up to 150 players as early as next year, saying it wanted to match amazing strides in the women's game around the world. The sports governing body said in a statement provincial rugby unions have been invited to submit proposals for 3-year franchises in the new Women's Super League Rugby, offering them budgetary support such as travel costs. Most teams in South Africa's top-flight Women's Premier Division do not have players on professional contracts. And with that, we wrap up this edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Shuad Abdin. Thank you for watching. Good night and take care.